Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, the meditative morning show about newspaper comics. Today, we continue with my review of the 2004 Garfield the Movie, where I am reviewing it 10 minutes at a time. I'm just watching every 10 minutes, stopping and reporting my thoughts and the synopsis of the film. Today was, I'd say, less eventful than yesterday. I call this chapter The Rise of Odie. It starts off great, honestly, because John drops off some groceries in the house, which consists of 4 frozen trays of lasagna, frozen meals. He goes to the car to get other groceries, and this is the true Garfield. When he comes back, Garfield has eaten all 4 trays of lasagna. That is the classic Garfield we were missing yesterday when he was setting alarms on his alarm clock and waking up earlier than John. And I was like, who is this guy? This is not the Garfield I know. So that's a great start to part 2. This prompts John to bring Garfield to the vet. Not because he really cares if Garfield's all right, but only to see his crush, the veterinarian Liz. And this gets to a confusing part of the movie. This scene confuses me for a few different reasons. Basically, it's her, John, and Garfield in a room, and she goes, let's get rid of Garfield, basically. I have to talk to you in private. Which, first of all, nobody in the human aspect of this talks to Garfield. So you're already in private. Garfield the cat is not making this a more public thing. You don't talk to each other. So I don't know why she said I have to talk to you in private. Because they were in private. Then she sits him down and says, there's something important I need to ask you. And for some reason, he thinks that she's going to ask him out. Because he wants to do the same thing. And he's reading this as like, oh, she's going for it first. And then she says, something I wouldn't ask most of the guys who come in here. And he takes this as further proof. Like, well, that's a done deal then. But then we find out all she's doing is pawning a dog off on him. This dog being Odie, of course. So she's just looking for an owner for Odie, and that's what she was going to ask him. But why does she say, there's something important I need to ask you, something I wouldn't ask most of the guys who come in here? Why does she strictly restrict this request to men who visit the veterinarian? Why couldn't she say most of the people I ask who come in here? Does this female vet not trust women? I know they're doing it just to have like the dialogue line so they could say guys and make him think that she's asking him out, but it made no sense to me. And then the assistant brings in the dog into the room, brings in Odie, and he immediately realizes what's going on. He's like, oh, you meant a dog. But it's like maybe an assistant was just bringing a dog to a vet briefly. Like, why does it all make sense all of a sudden? This whole scene confused the hell out of me. And any goodwill they got from me with Garfield eating 4 lasagnas and setting this thing on track was immediately lost. But anyway, John takes Odie, and then Garfield finds out that he took Odie, and Garfield hates Odie. I don't understand this aspect, why every other animal Garfield can talk to and has a voice actor, but Odie is nonverbal. I don't get that at all. That's not explained. Very little of this setup is explained. It's weird. It's like a kid's movie or something. No, I know they shouldn't have to like explain everything. It's not a big deal. But like, I just don't get it. Why did the vet have this dog? Why can't Odie talk to anyone? Why? I don't know. It stresses me out. It does lead to the best line in the movie so far, This is the one to beat, which is Garfield's upset that Odie has come into the family. He says, you had me, he's complaining to John. He says, you had me a chick magnet, and now you have a tick magnet. That's the line to beat. That's very funny. And Odie just keeps being sweet to Garfield, but Garfield wants to be a hater. And that's kind of it. All the stuff that Garfield used to do just like isn't gonna fly anymore. And I think we're setting it up now for something big where, you know, I can see where this is going. He hates Odie, but in the end, he'll realize Odie was just being sweet and that he was wrong and stuff. It's a solid setup. I think the movie lacks good humor, but it's setting things up very swiftly and properly, so I'll give it credit for that. I also, before we wanted to get to the comics, read one of the EDIF dictionary submissions that I've received. This is from Tyler L. And again, this is so that we can build our own vocabulary and dictionary, and you'll know when you're out and about who is a member of the club. And it's, again, just a good way of separating us versus them, which I think is a good practice just naturally in everyday life. Section yourself off with a small group and turn a blind eye, maybe go a little evil on anyone else. But Tyler L. sent in several words. I will read his first today, and it is this. Rex Morganing, all one word. Definition: when someone won't stop repeating a thought or idea, typically either a negative thought about oneself or an after-school special-esque lesson about life and or morality. I love it. I love this word. Oh, and he even has an example, which will be very helpful, like a sample conversation. And this will be very helpful when Rex Morganing appears as the final word in the Scripps National Spelling Bee for a child. And they'll have all the necessary things. We don't have country of origin, but I'm going to guess US of A, baby. The example convo, he used two men named Tom and Kyle. Tom says, hey, what happened after your parents caught you rolling doobies? Kyle says, they've been totally Rex Morganing about the dangers of marijuana on my young developing mind. And Tom says, I love it. Oh, good shit. All right, let's get to the comics. All right, let's do some Todd the Dinosaur. We see Todd and his human friend. I really wish I knew this human friend's name because I keep saying human friend. But they're at a seemingly pretty fancy restaurant. And his human friend says to the waiter, I'll have the enchiladas. Todd says, and I'll have some iguana fajitas. The waiter says, okay. Later on, after they've started eating, Todd says, iguana fajitas taste just like chicken. The waiter says, well, what do you know? And then fist bumps the human friend. Okay. So I think iguana fajitas, nobody has the heart to tell Todd the Dinosaur those don't exist, which is odd because he came into our time, so I don't know why we'd be afraid to reveal such information. It's not like they went away from his time, they just never existed. But it seems like the human friend kind of said to the waiter, like, hey, just give him chicken fajitas. He's an idiot. He has the brain the size of a pea. He's not going to notice. The fact that he can string sentences together at all is quite a miracle. This is an interesting restaurant because there's tablecloths and it seems fancy, but the waiter's wearing kind of like a whatever, like gas station attendant shirt. And every table, the amount of property this restaurant has is enormous. The closest table to them is like seemingly a mile away. You just see these silhouettes far off in the distance. I just would not expect Todd and this human friend to pick a restaurant that had like a tablecloth and a candle, and like, why are they going out on a fancy night on the town? Interesting. But again, this is just another thing about food. I'm so confused about Todd the Dinosaur. Why the premise is so stuck on food and not his dinosaur mannerisms and ways and how those differ from... I presume he did live back then too and like somehow got transported, if they ever explain that. I don't assume he was just like born in this time and that's all he knows. I thought he like came from the past, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know why they're friends though. Like Todd will eat a human being in this strip. We've seen that before. And this kid's still like cool with him and not even gonna like try and teach him any like morality. I don't know. I don't think there's a good lesson in this strip. I'd like to move on now. Mary Worth. Yesterday, Dawn and Wilbur were doing karaoke to David Bowie's Heroes. And Mary was watching the show and thinking about how wonderful they were as singers and how great they are as father and daughter. And I was just hoping that today Mary would get up on stage and do some karaoke as well. Let's see. Okay, we're back at Star Lounge at the karaoke spot. Headline: as Mary watches Wilbur and Dawn at karaoke, she thinks, again, my friends are talented. They're still singing Heroes. Mary continues thinking, and despite the painful experiences they've had with others, they can be proud of themselves. And they sing Just for One Day. This is like the exact same thing as yesterday. I can't even really comment much. It's just Mary thinking the same thing. We have the same exterior shot of the Star Lounge. They're still singing Heroes. Like, I thought they were wrapping up the song yesterday. I thought they were singing like the last lyric. The author had no idea what to do today and is just elongating it. This is the most repetition. This is more repetition than a Rex Morgan MD comic. Yeah, like they already sang Just for One Day twice yesterday, and now they're still singing this is lyric Just for One Day. I know that's the chorus, and that part repeats a lot. It's just like everyone's doing the same thoughts and activities again. Like, why can't we move on? This adds nothing. Like, don't you as the author think about the person who opens up the newspaper or opens up Comics Kingdom? And it's like, all right, what do they want to see today? Something new? Even slightly new? Like maybe it's Wilbur and Dawn singing the same song again and Mary's like, ooh, interesting song pick. Or, no, let's have them keep singing Heroes and I'll have Mary think pretty much the exact same thing, and yes, we'll open up with the same shot of the Star Lounge. That'll be good, the exact same shot. It's sick. I'm sickened by Moy Brigman doing the same content. Moy Brigman is, I assume, the author, and it says that in the corner. All right. Rex Morgan time. Now this, I hope we're moving somewhere with this because Corey was leaving finally, and Rex was finished operating on the bully. So the bully's out of surgery, and Corey's dad, Corey, and Aunt Judy are also gone for the night. So this is the time where maybe the bully and Parker are probably gonna get put in the same hospital room together. Okay. Headline: the next morning outside Randy's hospital room. So we just skip to the following morning. We have Rex Morgan and a fellow nurse or doctor. Rex says, how's our young patient? She says, vitals all look good, he's just sleeping. Rex says, good, rest is the best thing for him at this point. Yo, come on, guys. You skip to the morning? That night period was gonna be the juicy moment where they can interact. You had a shot. This comic goes millisecond to millisecond, and now you're skipping like 12 hours. We didn't see anyone go home. We didn't see Corey and his dad talk about this whole experience in the car. There was a lot to mine. We mined none of it. Ugh. What is going on with both Rex and Mary? Or even have Parker, like, upset, contemplating life alone in his room. You really see like the mental instability. You can really get to the heart of something. Why are we skipping to the next morning? Everyone was vulnerable yesterday. There was so much to go into. Now they slept it off. There's nothing to talk about. Oh my God. This is like, I feel like this is the first time I'm really like upset as a viewer. You know, like when fans get really passionate about something and think they know it, and when it doesn't go the way they think. I think I'm so invested in Rex Morgan at this point where I've reached that point. Let me think of what to comment. Okay, I'm gonna comment because Rex Morgan said, "How's our young patient?" I'm gonna have the nurse respond, "Good, his dad just got here for a visit. Such a funny father-son dynamic they have. He was saying, I'm gonna cut that little bleep. Ha ha ha, dads and sons are funny." Send. Alright, well, we'll see tomorrow if it results in a meeting between Randy and Parker. I'm just losing all hope. Oh no, my comment was rejected. Probably for saying a swear, even though I put all the symbols instead of the full word. Alright, well, this will be the only place that comment lives then. Time to wind down for this Monday, July 22nd. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And remember, every day is funny.